mustard ones as well. But anyway, I get a phone call. He sooked it up big time. Reckons I cost him his team the win.
You cost him?
I cost their team the win. On 15, he's hit his drive and it ended up in grass clippings.
Hello and welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League review show for round 3. Mark Hayes joined by the infamous Matthew Milne. 500 nicknames, but whatever you're calling you this week, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mark. How are you today? We're doing a little bit later video this week.
Yeah, apologies, that's on me, but we're back today.
Yeah, all good?
Yes,
okay?
Yes, no, everything's great. Just
booked in for seconds again, are we or not?
I'm not talking about this operation.
No, it's all good, Hazy. We had a fantastic day on Saturday. It was real winter golf. It was cold, wet at times, but overall we had a great turnout. We had 94 players for Premier League this week, which was fantastic in those conditions, but the scoring did drop away like the temperature.
It did, didn't it? I saw a couple of people pull out and then reinstate themselves.
They did, yes. They didn't want to let their team down, and it was an amazing result where we saw the top 4 teams play the bottom 4 teams, and all the bottom on the ladder won.
Shows you how close the competition is.
It is, yeah. You can't rest on your laurels. It's a tight, even event, and yes, it was interesting. And you should see how the ladder has changed since the start of Saturday to what it is now. Amazing.
We'll come to that in a few minutes. But first of all, Matty, let's have a look at the game. Well, I didn't have this pegged as a sort of an instant classic or anything, but the Crusaders and the Hookers really duked it out.
They did, yes. We had 11 players for the Hookers and 12 for the Crusaders. Crusaders got over the line in 8 points. It was 266 to 258. For the Crusaders, we had Xavier Boland on 42, Bobby Gibbs 35, Tony Havis, after his golf lesson on Friday, had 34.
Don't claim the lesson. He's just...
No, I didn't teach him. It was Maxi.
Oh.
Yeah, I handballed him off. He didn't want to speak to me. We had Johnny Hill on 33, Adam Shawcross 32, Ian Lachlan 31, and then Christine Noble on 30. You took advice last week, Christine. You got to 30. Well done. And then Lee Datson and Scotty Hopgood's 29s were counted. While for the Hookers, Leroy had 37, more to come on that. David Byrne and Dino Jeffrey 34, Jacob Lenahas at 32, 15 Clubs Wilkins had 32, Nicky McNeil 31, and then Julie Milne on 30, and Paul Marnie and Dean Ibbetson's 28s counted for them. So as you can see, the scoring did drop away quickly after the top ones.
Well, you mentioned 15 Clubs Wilkins. We did go out as the dedicated souls that we are, and just check that he did have the 15 clubs in his bag, or the 14 clubs rather, in his bag.
14.
Big inspection here, Mark Wilkins. How many sticks you got in your bag today?
14 actually.
Sure?
I recalibrated last night, fixed the problem.
What do you think of that, Matty? I mean, a little bit controversial the week before, but he seems to have sorted it out.
He did the right thing and disqualified from having the 15, but yes, I don't know, maybe plays better with less clubs.
Now, while we're on the videos, there was a player, he's a fine specimen, fine cut of a man. In fact, so impressive is his physique and his natural ability that he drove the greenside bunker pin high on the 13th. And I'm, of course, referring to the plumber with, I don't know how many kids he's got this week. I think it's up to 9.
I think we were talking about Paul Marnie before, but obviously it was Mickey McNeil, was it?
McNeil, yeah. I don't think Paul Marnie's got it in him to drive the greenside bunker, as nice a striker as he is.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the 7 kids, whether Paul could get that going. But stranger things have happened at the age of 80, but
maybe
he needs to speak to DeFuzzy.
Anyway, let's try and avoid a few more legal cases here and have a look at this video that we've put together here. Now, I want to make sure that people realise, having driven this bunker, the dodgy cameraman wasn't quick enough to get out for his second shot on the hole. This is actually his 3rd shot. Right,
so he must have hit the boards or something there and ricocheted back, but yeah, as you can see from his technique, no good. He was scared of hitting it out of bounds. Deceleration, didn't have enough weight on his front leg. pretty much pure poor technique there, Michael.
Do you think he should come in and have a bunker lesson?
No, I wouldn't bother trying to fix him.
Splashed out his third bunker shot.
Yeah, he probably wiped the hole there, but it was a fantastic epic. Xavier Boland wins the Travis Matthew Polo this week as the highest scorer. As I said, 8 points difference. For the AM players of Gibbs, Shawcross, Havis, they had the hookers players covered of Wilkins, Blennerhassett and McNeil. Now, the hookers tried hard in the afternoon with Dave Byrne getting back there with 34. Geez, he's really taken the PP team from last year to heart.
Yeah,
he's actually showing some form this year. Good to see. Julie Milne had a counting score, but Lee McMuffin, he come in with the best 37 for his team. As you can see here in the bright red pants, they're hideous. He's got mustard ones as well. But anyway, I get a phone call. He sooked it up big time. Reckons I cost him his team the win.
You cost him.
I cost their team the win. On 15, he's hit his drive and it ended up in grass clippings, and he wanted a free drop. Called, said, no, Lee, it's loose impediments, mate. You can't have a free drop.
Ah.
This is bull. Carried on. Oh, you're a dickhead. Why are you going to cost me the team and the victory? I'm like 35 points to here, and like it was a petulant schoolchild on the phone call. But anyway, Lee, you just need to harden up. It wasn't rubbish for removal. It's bad luck. Just play it as it lies. But your 37 was good though for you.
So 35 to there, and he just couldn't recover from that.
No, he just sooked up. The Crusaders, they had Donovan and Lachlan come in with counting scores, but when Xavier Boland come in with his 42, the match was over. Hooker Dean Jeffrey was one of the lone players out on the course, but his 34 wasn't enough, and it was a famous Crusaders victory. We had our Jamesies, the under 20, 25 and under hookers. Tim Belitho, after his fantastic 39 last week.
Tim.
25 this week. We'll get more to Tim's form in our preview of this coming Saturday. While the Crusaders, Helen Poe had 21 and Noel Pike had a paltry 19.
It's more on the Poe household later, I believe. Maybe 21's not as bad as it sounds.
Yes, but yeah, very disappointing from those. But their teammates pulled them over the line.
It was good to see, even though he wasn't on the winning side, Paul Marnie make a return to Premier League golf after a couple of weeks' absence. Let's check this out. Beautiful day out here at Portarlington Golf Club, just catching up with a few people who haven't been here much. Oh, g'day Paul Marnie, how are you?
Lovely, mate. I should have stayed home.
Really? Are you finding Premier League to your liking?
Well, the scoring system's no good.
What's wrong with the scoring system?
I can't score.
But Matty, as we see in this other little video, his short game around the 18th wasn't particularly sharp.
No. I think he's probably tried to attempt a putt there instead of having a little lob shot to get it over the false front there on 18. But I guess that's why you play off 36, Paul.
All right, so moving on to the second game, Matty. We've delved probably far too long into the Hookers and Crusaders. So let's move on to my prediction of strength.
Yeah, that's worked out really well, hasn't it?
Oh, it's just a really disappointing weekend for the Tornadoes against the suddenly ferocious Peakers.
Yes, the Tornadoes had their pants pulled down by the Peakers. It was a 34-point defeat.
Wow.
The Peakers scored 274, which was the highest scoring team for the round, and they win the Callaway golf balls, while the Tornadoes only scored 240, and they end up being the low score for the team, so they get the bottle of water from the pro shop there. The Tornadoes had 10 players, the Peakers had 13 players. For the Peakers, Cameron O'Keefe, he was the best on 38. Flea Pollock had 37. Lloyd Shepherd had 35. Lloyd is, he's
very good work.
Going all right. Nipper Dodds 34, Tom Morgan 34. Bear All Foot had 34, and then DeFazio had 32, and Jeanette Johnson 30. While the Tornadoes, Craig Duncanson, he tried hard for his team with 37. My girl Doreen had 33. She's back.
She's not your girl.
She's my girl. Johnny Leading had 32, Chris Dodds 30, Lynn Kirby 29, Robbie Moorcroft 28, and Ian Davis 26, and Tickle My Doodah's 25 counted. So you're never going to get a win with 25 being a counted score.
He had a counting Jamesy.
He did, a counting Jamesy. Could you believe that?
That is extraordinary. We should mention Angela Foot. She's been away a couple of weeks as well, but she just dropped back into form very nicely.
Well, I was nearly going to penalise her 2 shots on Saturday, and it still wouldn't have affected the result because she was down to play at 8. 8:15, I think it was, 8:30. Gave her a call, no answer. Called again, no answer. Then she called me back. She goes, no, I'm not up till 11:30. Said, no, you're at 8:30. She goes, oh yeah, I changed my time. Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
Can you put me at this time? At 11:30. And then she calls back at 10 minutes later, oh, can you move me to 8:50 with Tim Benham? So anyway, she turned up, which was great for her and for the Peakers. But with the scoring, Peakers AM players of Flea, Tommy Morgan, DeFazio and Ange Nipper, they obliterated the mornings of John Leading, Chris Dodds, Rob Moorcroft, Leading, Kirby and Ian Davis, while the PM Peakers, Cam O'Keefe and Lloyd, just put the icing on the cake. Craig Duncanson, as I said, tried hard. How's this though? It didn't matter. After 15 holes, he was at 35.
Wow.
And then the triangle grabbed him by the kahunas and he went white 1-1 to finish on 37. Didn't affect the result, but just for his sanity, he's the victim to the triangle again.
Yeah, right. I did see Johnny Leading play a couple of beautiful shots. He was in the group behind us. He drove the 13th and stuck this one pretty close on the 9th for 2. So impressive ball striking, but obviously didn't finish it out. But Matty, as we move on to the Jamesies for this match, I think it's time for the Jamesies.
It is, yes.
You did get out and take some very, very special footage of a particular tornado.
Yes, we did. We'll start on the Peakers first, seeing they won. They had 2. David Hutton, 24. Have been told to reference that he should probably go back to the Belmont Cricket Club rather than playing golf. That's a reference that I needed to put out there. Thanks for that, Flanders. No one knows what it means, but anyway. And then Alan Kerry had 21. No good. Tornadoes. Tickle Maduda had 25. And as we referenced, counting score, Simon Glacier Goggin, scratch marker. What do you reckon a scratch marker should have, Hazy?
Oh, no less than 28 or 29 ever.
Like, if they have 28, though, he's probably shot 80.
Yeah.
He had 23. Maybe the cold got to him a little, I'm not sure. And he was matched by Yvonne Casey's 23.
And this is the video.
Yeah, there's the video of Yvonne there on the 18th. Common area at the moment. You won't be able to get in there now because the dam's filled back up again. But yes, Yvonne, bad luck.
All right, we'll leave that game rest in peace. And the third match we want to have a look at, Matty, it's it was the close one of the day, and I know that the Goblins have been struggling. It's an understatement of enormous proportions to say that, but they've finally got over the line to beat the Pirates in a thriller.
I told you the Goblins were all right. Goblins 256 defeated the Pirates 253. Goblins 13 players, Pirates 11. Really, for the Goblins, it's really their first victory, because last year they had 1 win, and that win was only because the team didn't field enough players, so they won by their opponent there, so they won by default. So they've won this week. Now Max Edmondson reckons that they would lift for him because he was a Goblin last year and he'd come back to fill in. And wasn't he putrid? He was shithouse. Even before he was going out, he was saying he was going to win the shirt for the best score. But as we work through this, you'll soon see that was never going to eventuate.
Oh, did he start on the 10th?
Yes.
I got a text message saying he was within 135 off the tee on the 11th. So I thought it was going to be a bit of a stripe show after that.
Okay.
He was up and about.
Yeah, but he was no good. Goblins. Brian Bell, 37. Arthur McPhee, 34. David Milne, 33. Damien Smith, who was filling in, had 32. John Bowman, 32. Andrew Whitson had 31, while prime time LeBron had 29, and then Johnny Dixon and Yvette Pollock's 28 counted, while for the Pirates, Kenny Ladder, 38. Best score I think he's had in Premier League, so well done to you, Ken. Justin McGrath, 34. Chris James had 33. Cliffy McCorkle, Steve Gill, 32. Richie House, 29. Paul Kelleher, who was a fill-in, had 28. And Wendy Scuba Hub had a counted score on 27.
Well done, Wendy. Small steps.
Small steps. As I said, 3-point margin, tight game across the day. In the morning, Brian Bell was out early. Arthur McPhee, Damo and Andrew Whitson easily covered McCorkle and Kelleher, and then the other Pirates scores didn't count. But the Pirates PM counted scores of Scuba Hub, Richie Stevie Gill and even Jamesy, when Kenny Ladder come in with that 38 and covered the score of Brian Bell, Justin McGrath come in, it was sort of looking like the Pirates were going to get there. And then Manny Golfus. Last one out on the course, it was left to him, and he required to have 30 to get his team over the line, and he had 25. Now for the Pirates, they would be extremely disappointed in one player in their team.
Just the one?
Well, one in particular,
Okay.
who is a big, strong man, big bearded man, like works in the elements. He's like a metal worker, strong.
Yeah.
His father even played on Saturday in those conditions.
Yeah.
And this bloke said to the boys that he wasn't playing due to the weather.
Oh, you're kidding.
He would rather work in the weather than play golf. Wooten, Andrew, even the 193-year-old DeFazio turned up and played. And what about you not even turning up? Seriously, they got through unscathed. And then you would do that.
And he's been playing well too. They only needed to find 4 points for
Yeah,
victory.
it cost him victory. I think Dennis Wood went to watch Collingwood play the MCG on Saturday, are they?
I think so.
Yeah, so I think that was his excuse. Jeff Daniel, I'm not sure of, but yeah, disgraceful from Wooden though, for someone like him who gives it to everyone to not show.
Man.
Yeah. We go into the Jamesies for the Pirates. As I said, Manny had 25. Wouldn't have been a good household at the Poe household. Johnny Poe had 19. He had 7 wipes, but he did have a 3-pointer on the last.
Oh, nice.
Rallied with 13 points on the back 9. So, John, your household wouldn't have been a good side on Saturday night.
It's never a good sign to say you rallied with 13 points.
I know. 7 wipes, that's a lot though, isn't it?
It is. But on the other side, Matty, there's some really princely sort of
Yeah, for the Goblins, we had 2 players. Joy Francis had a paltry 21. Joy, you are so much better than that. But the other one, and I referenced it last week, he was a fill-in, and I told you he would play as good as who he was replacing, and he replaced Yanni Lathouris, and it was Max Edmondson. Had 25.
Oh, Maxie.
He's supposed to be going to Queensland on Wednesday to play Pro-Ams. I think we maybe need to do a GoFundMe fundraiser for him, because based on his form, he's going to go broke really quickly. Even a member is going to bring in 2-minute noodles for him to take away with him, because his form is abysmal.
Has he been getting coached by Ross Lyon?
I've got no idea, but the way he's playing, I don't know. I've even ordered replacement shafts for his wedges, which I've abraded the tip, put the grips on, so when he does have an accident, he's taking away a little heat gun so he can just arrow-dart him up and that, because if he plays like that while he's away, he may not have any clubs left. But 21 points from the reigning Drayton medalist. Maybe you probably should pay for your round instead of Yanni for what effort you put in.
That is true. I like the theory there. All right.
And he also reckoned he wasn't happy with last week's assessment of him, Hazy.
Really?
No. Like I said it was going to happen,
rough.
and he cut up rough. He sooked up like McMurrich. But anyway, good luck when you head away for 8 weeks. You're going to need it.
Which brings us to the final game from Saturday, and really it wasn't much of a challenge, to be honest, for the defending champion Backpack Bullies. Absolutely smacked the Warriors, Matty.
It was a 28-point demolition from the Bullies, last year's defending champions. Both teams had 12 players. For the Bullies, Johnny Wooten, Ando, your dad played. He had 40. He obviously handled the conditions well. Richard West had 36. Jackie Rowe for her first game back, 36. Sol,
Son of
Lee, Cooper McMurray had 35. Choco Royal, 35. Your good self had 31 counted score. And then Stewie Anderson and Judy said 30. While for the Warriors, not one of their players could reach their handicap. Jeff Evans was the best on 35. Boxhead had 32. Matty Davies and Jilly Barker 31. While Shawnee Ward, Joel Lorna had 30. And Ian Francis and Ian Flanders had 28.
Mate, I didn't. This is without any warning here at all. I did get a video of Jeff Evans. He did bounce back really hard. He was going nowhere early.
Yes.
But he had this putt here to actually play the back nine. It might have even been 2 under, I think.
Geez, that's stiff not to go in, isn't it?
Very stiff. Very, very stiff.
I reckon Kev Hudson would have been wishing that out for sure.
Well, Kevin, we should reference Kevin Hudson. He had the arduous task of dealing with Paul Marnie, but he did manage, a couple of highlights. I wouldn't say there were a lot of them, Matty. Would you?
No, not when you have 26.
But he did manage this one on the 18th, which we're talking over because we need to.
So that was to miss the Jamesy.
Yes, that was to miss the Jamesy.
Good pressure putt, Kevin. I knew you had it in you. But anyway, if we get back to this, Hazy, I noticed that you're another counting score.
Yeah.
You might be the secret to these teams. Would you be undefeated so far this year?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair comment.
Yeah, okay. So Ross Moreland's got to pay up another $30 for your score. But yeah, the Bullies, they flexed their muscles on Saturday and annihilated the Warriors. The AM scores had the Bullies slightly in front, but then when the Arvo started to come in, they just showed their hand, the Bullies. They were just too good. Our afternoons of Cooper and Westy and Johnny Wooden, that just sealed the victory, and you can't even sort of bring up anything else because the Warriors were totally outplayed.
There was one vibrant young woman out there, Matty. Because can we do the Jamesies now?
Yeah, we also for the Bullies, Jerry Ravioli had 25 and Barry Doyle had a dismal 22. For the Warriors, we had Stephen Bond, who was a fill-in, had 25. Dale Scott had 23, and we have one other who had 20.
Well, this is my point. So she's a vibrant young woman. We've loved her on this show over a couple of years. She's got you running scared, but we did manage to catch this video out on course of a very reluctant Shirley Bell.
What's the problem out here? You can't play with who?
Well, Shirley, let me just digest this. You've had 20 points. You had 8 wipes, 9 points on your first 9, and then you had a strong return of 11 points on the back 9. The only pass you get is the weather conditions and playing with Brian, because no one wants to play in Brian's group at all. So it's good to see that you're taking one for the team. Now, last year you had 2 scores under 20. In 2023, you had 7 scores under 20. Let's hope you've learnt from your mistakes. Maybe have a chat to Brian. He might have some advice for you to try and recapture your form and potential.
Am I going to have to be peacemaker between you two?
No, it was very disappointing. I suppose for Shirley, the rest of your team was shit house on Saturday, so you're not alone. So, you've always got this week to recoup.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of the review section. Matty, I know you're very excited about the ladder. There was some major sort of movement on
It was massive changes on the ladder. To give you an idea, with those top 4 teams all losing, we see the Warriors have dropped from 1st to 3rd, Tornadoes have gone from 2nd to 4th, Hookers 3rd to 6th, and then the Pirates who had the biggest drop. They've dropped from 4th to 7th after that. And then we look at the bottom 4 teams. The Crusaders have gone from 5th to 1st with their victory. Bullies 6th and looking like missing finals, and they've jumped up to 2nd. Just on percentage there. The Peakers 7th to 5th. The Goblins.
They must have moved up big time.
Goblins 8 to 8. No movement at all from the boys.
Despite your urgings.
Yeah, so no, massive change in the ladder this week, and I reckon round 4 is going to change it massively as well.
Yeah, I think that's stands. Looks like, Matty, that we've got another bottom 4 playing another top 4 this week.
It
is.
Right?
No,
all bottom 4 are playing each other, and all top 4 are playing each other.
I beg your pardon.
So yes, it's going to have another big ramification on the ladder. Just for those that are new to Premier League, the comp this coming Saturday is a par event, so you will play par as you normally would, and your score gets converted to Stableford. And what I mean by that is whatever score that you return, we will just add 36 to it. That's what happens when it goes to Golf Link. So if you have 2 up, you will finish with 38 points. If you have 6 down, you'll have 30 points. Or in the case of Shirley Bell, Noel Pike and John Poe and Joy Francis, minus 18 will give you 18 points. So that might be easy to work out.
Oh, you are cruising for a bruise in here, I'm telling you. All right, matey, let's have a look. The first game you want to preview is the Hookers and the Goblins.
God, isn't this one for the ages? The Hookers are 6th, the Goblins 8th. Hookers have scored significantly more points than the Goblins this year, like 6% difference on the ladder. Goblins should receive return of Murray Wiley, while the Hookers are pretty solid with their team lineup, but Andreas Belkis, James Finch and Jim Pike should be back. Hookers would like...
Will we notice the difference of Andreas returning?
Oh, surely. I think he's been in a bit more better form since he went away, so...
Okay.
The Hookers would like to see some improvement from Paul Marnie. Anything over 30 would be fantastic, Paul. Tim Belitho has gone 26, 39, 25.
Ooh.
Not sure what's next for him.
Will the real Tim Belitho please stand up?
Yes, Leroy. Not sure which personality will turn up for him, and that will impact on his score. Goblins, Fran Stone. You've only had 29, 30 and 27. We know that you're better than that, Fran. Maybe get off Netflix and practice your golf more. John Bowman, 26, 28, 32. I guess with those improvements, 2 points better, 4 points better, he should be 6 better. So we expect 38 from you this week. And LeBron. Don't know what to say. You've had 29 the last 2 weeks. Don't think I can say anything.
Well, perhaps a few little less jaunts out into the
out of bounds areas,
out
you
of
reckon?
bounds areas like this one here might sort of work well for LeBron.
Geez, he gets it shut at the top, doesn't he? God, it's worse than Reynolds.
All right, the second game up for preview, Matty, is the Pirates and the Peakers. This has suddenly got a lot about it.
Yeah, Pirates are 7th, Peakers are 5th. Only 2.8% separates these teams. The Pirates have scored 811 points, while the Peakers have scored 805. Peakers coming off that confidence-boosting win, while the Pirates had the confidence-sapping loss. Pirates would be really disappointed, as I said, with Dennis Wood, Jeff Daniel, and most importantly, Andrew Wooten for his non-appearance last week, while the Peakers will see the return of Johnny Crossett, Mr. Winchelsea. Warren, he should be back this week. The Pirates have had McGrath, Steve Gill and Cliff McCorkle have counted scores every week, while the Peakers have had Jeanette Johnson, Lloyd Shepherd, Nipper, Flea and DeFazio count every week. So are the Peakers relying on too few?
I can't say too much about it just yet, but I'm very keen to see Jeanette Johnson's new Peakers memorabilia.
Oh, she got something, has she?
Yeah, I can't say too much about it.
Okay, well, we might be able to get a photo next week then, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
So this is a match that can be intriguing. We've got Manny Golfus against Alan Kerry, play against each other in the same group.
Yeah.
Dennis Wood against Nipper Dodds. Cliffy McCorkle against Dave Hutton. Lloyd Shepherd against Ken Latter. So there'll be a bit of sledging in these groups, I would imagine, on Saturday.
Yes. Now the third match, Matty, is the Bullies and the Tornadoes. Come on.
So the Bullies, as we said, 2nd versus Tornadoes 4th. Only 1 point scored separates these two teams. So both high-scoring teams, but there's a 4% difference on the ladder due to those Tornadoes getting smoked last week. The Bullies have had Said and West contribute each week, while the Tornadoes have had Chris Dodds and Ian Davis count each week. And even Ian's 26 counted, so that's probably, it counts, but it doesn't. Was last week's Tornadoes a blip on their form? I don't know. Is it a blip?
Yes. I think yes.
It was poor last week, though.
It was shoddy. Very shoddy, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. It's the Bullies should see Rob Casey back, Bill Archer and Phil Stevens still been missing with that back injury. Tornadoes will hopefully be strengthened by the other Boland, Ollie. Has got a new job. That's what he plays Saturday.
Okay.
The way his work hours was why he had to miss last week. So hopefully his new job hours can work around Premier League. Neil Ryan should be back. Marles back. Bagman back, and Barry Marbles should be back too.
Barry Marbles will be back. We haven't seen Barry around for a while.
No, he hasn't pegged it up yet. Was down at Apollo Bay last weekend, doing the marathon or that run down there.
Oh, well, surely he was commentating. He couldn't have been jogging.
Well, that's what I thought. Haven't seen any video footage, but yes, that's where he was last week. So
Okay.
I did see his name down for this Saturday, I think. So he should be good.
Well, that's to be
He
debated.
doesn't put a score in because he's a shit golfer, but anyway.
He should be good. All right, Matty. The last game we want to discuss and preview is the Crusaders and the Warriors. Now, the Crusaders. Should I read it now or should I?
I'll just maybe do my preview and then we can interject with that one there.
Okay,
But
all right.
the Crusaders have scored 10 more points than the Warriors, and 0.4% separates these teams. Crusaders have had Shawcross, Datsun, Hill and Boland have counted scores each week, while Lorna, Evans and Barker have scored each week for the Warriors. Warriors have had 5 scores over 36 this season, while the Crusaders have had 6. Xavier Boland is the X factor for the Crusaders. He's had 38, 37 and 42.
We have to call him the difference.
Yes. Can he replicate this week, or will he choke when the pressure comes on when they're expecting him to have that score again?
What's the handicap coming to? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked that, to be honest.
It's been plummeting.
The Crusaders will need some improvement from Christine Noble. You're heading in the right direction. You've had 22, 29 and 30. Tony Havis, as I said, 34 last week, which was good. Maybe Max should take notice of what he teaches his pupils and uses it himself. Johnny Rowe, your 227 so far are not good enough. And Craig Connolly, 33-27. Didn't play Saturday, had to work. He's into the semi-finals of the match play. Maybe show this form on Saturday. You have got some new tailor-made irons, which just got delivered yesterday, so he could be in for a little 40 points. Warriors, Shirley, you haven't hit the scoreboard yet. 26, 23, 30. Let's hope it doesn't go under 20. Flanders is after that piss poor team this year. 34, 23, 28 for Flanders.
Yeah, he had the temerity before to approach me in the clubhouse and say that he warranted a bit of pump up because he scored 20 on the back 9. After 8 on the front 9.
I wouldn't even dignify it with a response.
Fair enough.
Dale Scott's 23 is definitely not good enough. And Matt Davies, you're sort of the low marker of your team. You need to show them something. Your 29 and 31 does not stand up in this competition at the moment. I did give a player a bit of a bake last week, or I suppose try to give him some enthusiasm to try and lift his performance, and I think it may have worked, Mark.
Well, there was an email or a text message that came across the desk of us here at the Neville Richards Premier League. I'll just read it out. It was addressed to you. Well, Bigfoot, aka Missile, here's a salvo at you. After getting a mini spray off you last week, probably deserved, it fired me into action, winning B grade on Tuesday. Not sure of the merits of that, but
I was going to say, it's all about himself, obviously, by this, not the team.
and despite some sloppy putting over the last 6 holes, I still managed to get into the Crusaders' counted scores. So thanks for that. Furthermore, again,
Wouldn't have been hard. You only have to score 29.
Furthermore, again, in the face of many doubters, no less than our beloved club captain, who stated we were the weakest team in the comp, here the Crusaders sit at the top of the heap. Not since the Holy Wars have a group of Crusaders shown such fight, and Xavier Boland should be knighted.
I got knighted last year. You can't be knighted.
This week we take on the Warriors, and with such aptly named teams, the fight will be on. Take us lightly at your own peril.
God, there's a bit of me in that, wasn't
We
there?
haven't even divulged who it is yet.
No, well, I think everyone would know.
Who's the me operator?
Well, if you looked at the team, there's only one there that is like that. Like, you wouldn't hear that from Helen Poe or Chris Noble or Cherie Gill or Noel Pike. Xavier Boland wouldn't reference himself. Tony Havis is new. John Rowe wouldn't know how to use a phone to send a text. Cole Isbell's very demure. Bob Gibbs, you could probably think that from him, but he's not smart enough to be able to send a text. Scott Hopgood, no. Craig Connolly, he's paramedic, so he wouldn't be doing that shit. John Hill wouldn't know some of those words. Lee Datson's too busy cleaning. Adam Shawcross is a landscaper, so he wouldn't be smart enough to send that. It only leaves one player. The diminutive little man, Ian Lachlan.
Oh, because it wasn't signed.
Oh, wasn't it? No, it wouldn't surprise me. But if I go back and look at B grade results, it'd be Ian. But what's he doing in B grade? Shouldn't he be A? He's a better golfer than that. Thank you, Ian. It was very kind words from you. And yes, your Crusaders are going well. Hence why I said you'd make finals and he didn't.
No. Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said they were the weakest team as well.
No, Goblins are. I'm sticking with the Goblins. All right, that just brings us to the end. Another fun-filled, video-laden thing. Be good for Flea to get his hands onto all that stuff, Matty.
Yes. Apologies as we get that out hopefully tonight or tomorrow. I think Flea's going to put a couple of things on that. The video does go onto my YouTube channel, so if you are a subscriber to that, when it gets uploaded, you'll actually get that before the official club email comes out. So I think Flea was going to put a subscribe button on there that you can get that early out if you are that way inclined.
It'll be packed by the end of the year. It'll be knocking back members.
Well, they mightn't want to play anymore.
Thank you, Matty, and thank you to Dale Pollock for his wizardry in getting this video organised. Appreciate your time. Thanks again to Luke Campbell and the team down at Neville Richards at Callaway. Your Golf Pro, everyone who's helping us, we appreciate it. Hope you're having fun out on the course, and we'll catch you again next week.
Thank you, Mark. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you.